I'm a lobster, 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 lobster. I'm a lobster. Yes, I am. Bam, 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 bam. Lobster. Yes, I'm a lobster. I'm a lobster. Yes, I am. I'm a. oh, is it that time already? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Let me hold my ears. Day converted man here. Why do you got me so loud for? I don't know. It was a thing that I did a long time ago, and then it became a thing. Yeah. Just like the lobsters, huh? Yeah, it's just like the lobsters. All right, so we're going to be looking at a video. Yep. A challenge uh, to atheists. So the existence of God, a challenge to atheists by Steve Copland. All right. So, yeah, that will be what we're doing, I guess. Let's see if he's challenging.
In this video, I wish to present a specific cosmological challenge to atheists to see if they have the honesty and courage to make a stand about what they believe regarding the cosmological evidence of the last 100 years and how that data relates to the existence of God.
Ah, yes. I love the poisoning of the well of, honesty and courage to take a stand for it. What is the evidence? What are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with? Okay, whatever. Just get to it. What? Maybe I should aim the camera higher. What do you think? No, keep it down here. It's more annoying. Okay.
On May 17, 2024, I published a video entitled 7 Arguments for the Existence of God. Now, in the intro, I stated that the scientific methods may be adequate to provide powerful arguments for God's existence, but ultimately be unable to provide absolute proof.
And that's your problem. I haven't responded to that video, but I guess I'll get to it.
The simple reason that the Christian definition of God is a being who is outside of time or the natural order.
Okay, so it's outside of time, so it's no when, and it's outside of the natural order, so it's not natural, nor is it in order, so it's a chaotic thing. That's weird. Square Bundy says, God is real. Prove it. Just prove it. Prove that God is real. Anyways, back to this.
Now, there were about 400 comments to the video, but sadly, only about 5 people actually bothered to engage my arguments in a mature way.
Hey, when I get to your video, I'm going to be very, very, very immature, but I'm going to point out the fallacies that you make, if any. So both are possible. It's possible to analyze a video and be immature at the same time. I'm going to do it. And maybe I'll be mature. Probably not, though. All right, prove spirit now. It's a spiritual being. That's nice. Prove that.
And I appreciated their efforts. But for the most part, although I had hoped to engage in mature discussion and debate, instead, I found mostly mocking insults and arrogance.
Well, maybe the insults are because your arguments were really, really bad. Or maybe you said something that offended people. I don't know.
But one thing I didn't expect was the comments stating that macroevolution and atheism are not connected in their worldview.
Macroevolution? What the hell are you talking about? If you got macro, you've got microevolution. Okay, so are you a creationist then? Because, like, oh, wait, here. Let's do my face here. Sorry. We gotta get it here. So, what are you, a creationist? You don't believe in the biological evolution by, natural, by, that whole scientific thing? But no, atheism isn't connected to anything. Atheism is a single position in response to a question. Do you believe in God? If you say no, you're an atheist. That's it. It has nothing to do with acceptance of any science or denial of any science whatsoever. If you have a problem with accepting and or understanding biological evolution, learn what it is first, educate yourself, maybe find a scientist to talk to, because typically people that deny evolution have zero idea what they're talking about. And the creationists lie for a living. That's that they if they are smart enough to know anything, they have to lie about what they're saying. And real science has affirmed over and over again biological evolution. And the only people that fight against it are the religious.
One person claimed that many atheists don't believe in macroevolution, while another said that I have no clue about what atheists believe. I was left wondering why such people even bother to look at such a video about the existence of God if they are so adamant and certain about their position.
Because it's fun?
If someone put out a video called Evidence That God Does Not Exist, I wouldn't waste my time on it.
Why wouldn't you? Evidence that there isn't a God, you wouldn't waste your time on it, so you don't want to be proven wrong, potentially. Okay. I actually want to be proven wrong. I want to learn if I am wrong. But you're saying you wouldn't waste your time to see if you were wrong. And then you're like, well, why are these people watching my video or responding to it if they're so sure that they're right when I wouldn't do that? Well, maybe they're not like you. Maybe they're really sure that they're right, but they're like, hey, look, maybe he's going to say something that will convince me I'm wrong.
Another obvious question to atheists would be, why do you want so vehemently for there to be no God? Why all the vitriol and anger? Why all the mocking? Such a...
Let's see. Okay, come on. There we go. Many possible reasons. Maybe you said something that insulted people. Maybe people are just trolling you, maybe people are irritated that you are saying things that are anti-science and they're getting upset at that. They're not getting upset that you're saying that there's a God. They don't care about that part. But broadly speaking, the atheists I've encountered really care about reality, and science is the best method that we have to understand reality. And part of that is biological evolution. And the creationists that deny this and argue against it just drag our society down and hold it back from forward progress. And broadly speaking, atheists get irritated at that. So maybe those insults are because of that, and because you're, misunderstanding, whether intentional or not, and ignorance of science is what is causing that emotion in people.
Emotions about a being you claim does not exist reeks of insecurity and of simply creatures standing with their fists raised shouting, "There's no one greater in the universe but me."
Huh?
So in this video, I want to see what, if anything, atheists actually believe or possess other than an adamant desire to convince themselves that God does not exist.
Well, that's assuming that I have some desire that I don't want God to exist. That's already starting off on the wrong foot. You've assumed to know things about me as if you can read my mind. You cannot know my mind. You should ask me what I believe instead of assuming what I believe. Plenty of atheists will happily answer your question on what they do believe. Now, in regards to the word belief, I'm not really sure about that word. I don't really like that word. It's kind of tainted. I have certain things that I think are true, that I know are true, things that I'm skeptical about. So, are they beliefs? Well, there's the a priori beliefs. I guess those are beliefs. But broadly, you know, whatever the word is, belief or some other word. If you want to know, you just ask. So, what do I actively have a belief in or knowledge about or whatever? I suppose I would say that the laws of logic are uh, reflections of how we understand reality. They map onto our understanding of reality, and they will update if our understanding of reality changes. That science is the best method that we've figured out as humans to get as close as we can to the truth, which is reality, how reality works, what it's about, what makes things go. And other than that, I mean, I don't know. Uh, I have ethics that are grounded in utilitarianism, some Immanuel Kant, and some other ideas. Um, I don't know. What do you want me to talk about? Because I have a lot of things that I value or care about or believe or whatever. Like math is a thing that we can do. Musical notes only exist in the brain. I could go on and on. I'm not sure exactly what you want to know about me, but you're not asking me. You're assuming that I don't want there to be God. I don't care if there is or isn't a God. uh, in that sense, in the sense of my desire, I do not view my desire as being relevant to reality. Whether I care or don't care about there being a God or me having $1 million doesn't change the facts of reality. I really, really care that I don't have $1 million. I would really love to have $1 million. That would be pretty darn cool. I don't know what I would do with it, but I would do a lot of things with it. But when it comes to the desire, I recognize that no matter how much I want to have $1 million, it's not just going to magically appear in my bank account unless God wants to put it there. As long as it's legal U.S. tender and it doesn't look like shady or whatever, like I'm not going to get investigated for where it came from, right? It's got to come legit somehow, But it's God, so God could figure that out, right? At any rate, so I don't have a desire one way or the other in regards to God's existence. I'm interested in the possibility, sure. I would love to know if there's a God. That would fundamentally change my life in many ways. It would change the content that I produce on this channel. It would change what I do with my free time. It would change a lot of things for me. But it has been consistent throughout the time that I have been doing YouTube as Deconverted Man that every single argument for God has had one or more logical fallacies in them. And because of that, I have to stay skeptical of those conclusions. And there's zero empirical evidence and zero repeatable tests for God. And that's a problem, a big problem that theists just go, well, but that's what God is. Like, how do you know what God is without a way to verify what it is? They rely upon definitions. The definition of God is this. That's what the Christian God is, because that's what we said it is. Okay, great. But how do you know that that's really what God is? You don't. You have faith in that. That's it. And I want facts, not faith.
Hopefully, some of you will engage in mature discussion and seriously consider the evidence that I'm going to present.
Now, look, you got to understand where I'm coming from. You tell me to be mature, and immediately I want to not be mature. That's just like, dude, you got to understand that, okay? So I can do both things. I can be immature and respond at the same time. And I'm going to do that because, I think it's funny. just have a little bit of sense of humor about it. Oh, come on, be on my head. I want you to be on my head. Be on my head. Okay, let's see if I can get him on my head. All right, there we go. That'll seal the deal there. All right, the sand seal on my head. That's right, from Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The sand seal. That's right. And wait, no, gotta get a lobster. Oh, knocking my headphones off. Come on. I want to be mature as I respond to this video. He said to be mature. I can't be mature now. It's against my whole fiber to be mature once he said to do it. I gotta not do it now. All right. This is pretty silly. All right. Pretty immature. Okay, back to the video.
So my questions to you are just two, and they are as follows. Do you, as an atheist, believe the Big Bang Theory based on the cosmological evidence presented in the last 100 years?
As an atheist, it is incoherent in that statement, so you need to remove that. Do I believe the Big Bang Theory? I don't know. It seems to be robust. It seems to be the most supported theory that's around right now. But I am aware that there are other competing theories in cosmology. So it might be that one of them wins out. And so, that's fine. Whichever one wins, wins. And so right now, Big Bang cosmology is the agreed upon one by the majority of cosmologists, and so I agree with it for those reasons.
And number two, if the universe is finite and expanding, would you seriously consider that something or somewhere may exist outside of the universe into which it is expanding?
Would I seriously consider that? No, I will sillily consider that. I will consider that as a humorous idea, not a serious idea. Because again, you wanted me to be mature, and I have to do the opposite. You wanted me to take it seriously, I have to take it sillily. So, but yeah, no, I don't know. I guess the universe is expanding, and what is it expanding into? Well, it's kind of weird because there isn't a term for, that. It's just space, I guess. So it's expanding into more space. There you go. I don't know. But yeah, I suppose that's something or somewhere may exist outside the universe into which it's expanding. I suppose, maybe. I don't know if that's possible or not, but I'll say that tentatively I'll grant the possibility, even though I don't even know that it's possible.
Those are my two questions to you.
That's it?
So let's examine the development of the Big Bang Theory.
All
Prior
right.
to the 20th century, the general consensus was that although the universe may be infinitely large, it was basically static. Neither the discoveries of Copernicus nor Newton contradicted this idea. Stephen Hawking stated, it was generally accepted that the universe had existed forever in an unchanging state, or it had been created at an infinite time in the past, more or less as we observe it today. This is A Brief History of Time, page 6. In 1915, Einstein published his general theory of relativity, which predicted that space expands. Einstein also added his cosmological constant to this theory to maintain his belief in the universe being static, and later admitted that this was the biggest blunder of his life. In the 1920s, Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian cosmologist, proposed that the universe was expanding. Therefore, there may have been a time when it began from an incredibly dense state. Lemaitre argued that originally the universe was a single particle, that which he called the primeval atom. Lemaitre's theory was influenced by Edwin Hubble's discovery in 1929 of the distances between galaxies determined by their red shifts, that is, an increase in wavelength. Hubble observed that wherever you look in the sky, All other galaxies are moving away as if we are within a kind of cosmic balloon. The emerging Big Bang theory was not welcomed by many, as it strongly implied the possibility of a cause outside of the universe.
Was that really the reason why it wasn't welcomed? This is often said by apologists as if this is a fact. Show me who said that they don't want this to be true because of this reason. Quote verbatim that person, when they said it, where they said it, citation required, because I don't believe that that's a legitimate reason. And everything fell off my head. The lobster fell off my head. The sand seal fell off my head. This thing fell off my head. Artemis fell off my head. I was trying to be silly, but no, they want to fall off my head. Anyways.
In 1948, Sir Fred Hoyle contributed to the steady state theory. The theory was that the universe was infinite and kept in balance by matter, which had previously ceased to exist, but simply coming into existence out of nothing at the same rate as it was being destroyed. Now, the problem with the theory, as pointed out by Isaac Asimov, was that it breaks the first law of thermodynamics, which states that matter and energy can neither be self-created nor destroyed. Matter can be converted into energy and vice versa, but their sum total remains the same, expressed in the dictum ex nihilo nihilo fit. Out of nothing, nothing comes. The second law of thermodynamics.
Okay, we don't know that to be the case because we've never observed nothing. So it's just a tautology. It's just something that we say. We don't know that that's true, though.
It states that the universe is running down. As the rotation of planets and stars slow down and burn themselves out, the universe becomes less and less organized as energy is dissipated. The logical conclusion is that the universe cannot be eternal, or stars, for example, would have ceased to exist long ago. All of this strongly suggests that if the universe is becoming less ordered, it must have been more ordered in the past and had a highly ordered beginning.
Yeah, Redshift also, I think, had some sort of influence on this sort of stuff. But the thing is, I mean, stars could be being made all the time. And so maybe it's just that it is an infinite universe, but we just have more and more stars being made. You know, I don't know. I'm no cosmologist. But the hourglass universe theory is one that I think is really interesting because basically you have an antimatter universe, at least antimatter from our perspective. From the people that would live in that universe, it wouldn't be antimatter to them, it'd be matter. And we'd be the antimatter universe. It's just how you look at it. But at any rate, that universe goes backwards in time, but for their perspective, it's forwards in time. And they go smaller and smaller, and then and then it goes, and then goes back into our universe, and then our universe collapses and whatever. I don't know. It's a pretty cool theory. I don't understand it. I'm not a cosmologist. I guess your challenge was done, though, because I answered your questions. So I'm not sure why you're talking about the Big Bang, but okay.
In 1948, George Gamow published a paper claiming that because matter becomes increasingly hot when condensed, the early universe must have been incredibly hot when compressed into an intensely minute size. Now, he speculated that as the universe expanded from this point, it would have left vestiges of cosmic background radiation as a thermal signature. In 1965, American physicists Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson detected cosmic background radiation, which has been confirmed repeatedly by other scientists and said to be, by many, to be the crowning glory of the Big Bang theory, which proves Hoyle's steady state.
Okay, I don't know what the point is. Blah, 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 Big Bang, blah, whatever. Okay, I agree with the Big Bang. What's your point? Is any of this about atheists again, or just more talking about the Big Bang? Okay, here we go. Finally, we're getting to the point. My goodness, I'm skipping ahead.
Over 3,000 years to prove the first verse of the Bible that in
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
fairly accurately calculate the beginning of the universe to around about 13.8 billion years
Yep.
leads to the conclusion that the universe had a beginning.
No. No cosmologist that I am aware of says the universe has a beginning in that sense. Because the T1 point, the T2 or 3 point maybe, like we already don't know what's going on there. But the singularity, that's the start of the universe. But the singularity is still a thing. So that's still the universe. So we really don't know when it started or what happened or if that thing has always existed until it expanded, or we just don't know. Our models, that is to say the models that cosmologists come up with, fail. Why? Because physics is wonky when you have a really hot universe. It's like a gajillion degrees hot. And when it's that hot, things that work now wouldn't work the way that they work now. They'd be very different. Protons and atoms and molecules couldn't even form when it's that hot. So, it's just a weird state of things. So, in regards to this idea that there's a start of the universe is not a scientific fact. It is something that apologists love to say as if it is fact, but you notice they never cite who says this, what cosmologist happens to agree with you, and more importantly than that, show me the scientific peer-reviewed paper where they say that. You don't got that, do you? Of course not. Citation required. You don't have any.
Fundamentalist Christians who take a literal six-day view of the Bible rejected the theory, while Christian scientists welcomed it, pointing out that it had taken human beings over 3,000 years to prove the first verse of the Bible, that in the beginning, God created the universe.
But that doesn't prove anything. Even if the universe has a start, that does not prove the start of the Bible. This is moronic beyond moronic levels of moronacy. Is that even a thing? I don't know. No politics. Sorry, that distracted me. Like, you're not talking about politics. Now, what was I saying? Oh, right, the beginning of the universe, that proves God. Right. So, the Bible is, first of all, that bit is kind of like copied from other ideas. So, it's not that original to say the universe had a beginning or there was a start of things. You could easily say that it proves the Hindu gods, because there's a opening of the eye of, I think it's Venishu, and that's the beginning of the universe is when it opens the eye. So the Big Bang proves that, or whatever. You could say it proves all sorts of things if you want to go that route. But if the Bible said what it should have said once upon a time, that would have been a lot different. But it just says, in the beginning, God did stuff. It doesn't align with the cosmology that we actually have. I know that Christian apologists really want it to, but it just doesn't. There's no association, causation linked there.
But the questions that every thinking person is faced with are obvious. And although various theories have been presented, some of which are reasonable and others illogical, are as follows. Number one, where did the original matter and energy of the universe come from?
Well, that assumes that it came from somewhere. That's already a loaded question. Maybe it didn't come from anywhere. Maybe it always was in that little tiny bit of thing that we call the singularity. I don't know. You don't know either. But by asking this loaded question, there's no way I can answer it because you're assuming that it came from somewhere. Do you have proof that it came from anywhere? No, you don't. So I don't know that it did or didn't come from anywhere, and neither does anybody else. Our cosmological models break down as you near like the T1 point, which is T1 is the time index 1, time index 2 and 3 and 4. These are like the milliseconds or quantiseconds or whatever of the Big Bang cosmology. And physics just, I don't know when exactly physics starts to break down. I would imagine it's when the universe is a gajillion degrees, but I don't know because I'm not a scientist, and neither are you there.
And number two, if space is created as the universe is expanding, into what is it expanding?
Okay, so this is assuming that space is created rather than just being what is. Space, the final frontier, it might just be empty void, if you will. And the nature of reality might just be this giant empty void. And so that's space because that's the name that we have for it. So the universe could be expanding into just more of that. You're assuming that space is being created. That's not logical. Space might just be a description of, well, an area. Up, down, left, right, forward, backwards. That way, that way. That's space. And nothing had to create it. Maybe it just always was, even before, if there is a before the universe. It's just empty void. That's space. Now, the space that we observe in outer space has stuff in it, even though there's a vacuum there, because there's radiation from light and the sun and radio waves and goodness knows what else, little debris of all sorts of crap floating around out there. Okay. But somewhere deep in space, there might be a region that is free of radiation and light and particles and whatever. And that would be interesting to find. If and when we find it, we will be able to understand that. But right now, we don't know. But to assume that space is being created is, well, an assumption that you're making that I will not join in.
Now, there is no such thing as a purely objective person, and none of us enjoy admitting we may be or have been wrong.
Oh no, I'm trying to train myself to enjoy being wrong because I learned something new. And it wasn't that long ago that I found out I was wrong, and I corrected myself in a video saying, yep, I was wrong. Here's how I was wrong and why I was wrong, and blah, blah, blah. I would like to try to strive for that ideal, to admit when I am incorrect. Because I value the truth. My duty is to the truth. I just saw that thing. Oh my goodness. Sorry, chat distracted me. He said he misses my sister. Look, he's my identical twin cousin, not sister. Anyways, so stupid. I don't know. I'm just, this is okay, whatever.
Usually, people approach both of these two questions from a theist or atheist conviction. And
There's no theist or atheist conviction when it comes to these questions. These particular questions are loaded questions. The only way to answer them is to point out that they're loaded questions. And you need to unload these questions.
they refuse to be convinced that our view is wrong, as the personal stakes are just too high.
I can be wrong about anything. I don't care. Doesn't bother me one bit or one way or the other. Be wrong about what? Be wrong about these questions not being loaded? Pretty sure they are loaded. Be wrong about the answer to the questions? Well, I can't answer them because they're loaded questions. What is it that I'm wrong about that I need to worry about being wrong about here? Exactly.
Of course, there are also agnostics who genuinely consider all of the evidence. People.
The agnostic considers all the evidence, but the atheist doesn't. Right. Okay, well, I'm an agnostic atheist, so I guess I consider all the evidence unless I don't. What are you going to do with that? Also, I'm an ichtheist, sort of. And I'm a skeptic. Deal with all those labels. Good luck.
People who are not fully invested in a particular stated position of either theist or atheist. The late Stephen Hawking and Richard Dawkins, for example, are public figures who have stated there is no God, and they are committed to that position no matter how much evidence is presented to question their claim.
No evidence has been presented. That's the problem. And they're not committed. Well, one is dead, so he's not committed to anything. Dawkins is still around. If you have evidence, present it to him, by all means. But by evidence, he's going to want his sort of evidence, scientific evidence. If you don't got it, then that's it. You're done. End of story. And it's like, you can go, well, but God doesn't have that. Too bad. Then he's not going to be convinced. If all you have is arguments, well, he's heard the arguments. They're not good. Well, I don't know if he's pointed out the logical fallacies, but he just goes, yeah, whatever. That doesn't prove anything to him. And so, no, you're wrong. If there was evidence of God, you could convince Dawkins. You could convince me. You could convince a lot of people. But you don't have evidence. You just have bad arguments.
To the first question about the origin of matter, Dawkins has made some incredibly foolish statements publicly, desperately trying to contradict the first law of thermodynamics.
I don't care what Dawkins has said in this regard.
That from nothing, nothing comes. Dawkins insisted on trying to redefine nothing as something. Yet,
I think you're confusing Dawkins with Lawrence.
Still absolutely has no explanation of how this something magically appeared out of nothing.
Dawkins is not a cosmologist. He's an evolution person. Like, so why what?
Hawking presented several theories which are absolutely unprovable and highly implausible.
Let's see your scientific papers that refute them then.
These theories were designed to eliminate the need to confirm that the universe had an actual beginning. Firstly, he suggested that the universe may be traced back to being infinitely smaller.
Okay, you decided that the reason must be to get to a certain goal rather than to discover the truth. That's what you've decided. You have decided that it must be God, and that all ideas about cosmology that don't fit into your God bubble must be made just so we can avoid God. I don't know. Maybe Stephen Hawking was trying to figure out different ideas of how the universe came to be because, he's a cosmologist and that's what they do. Just an idea.
with no actual beginning and just exploded when it reached a particular size and density. Now, this was an attempt to go backwards beyond the Big Bang itself, stating that our ability to measure the age of the universe is only based on the moment of the Big Bang. The obvious problem with Hawking's theory is that there is no evidence that something can be infinitely small. And as some scientists pointed out, it sounds very similar to the 14th century scholastic argument about how many angels can dance on the head of a needle. On the second question about expansion, several...
You know what I would love is some citations. Do you have any citations? No, of course you don't have any citations for any of this. So, yeah, I don't know that any of this ever happened for real. You're just saying stuff at this point.
Theories have also been proposed. One is the multiverse theory. Our universe began within a pre-existing universe and grows like a cosmic balloon within that universe. This solves the problem of pre-existing matter and energy. It has even been proposed that the mystery of black holes may actually be other new universes which have begun in our own universe. The obvious question is, if there was one original universe, then where did the matter and energy come from to create it?
Well, that assumes that there's an original universe rather than an ongoing chain of universes making more universes, because that's what universes do and have always done. You're assuming that there was an original universe. Why are you assuming that? Because that's what you want. And the multiverse isn't to necessarily explain this or that. It's just another hypothesis or theory that people have come up with. There's no intentionality behind these things. There's no reason that we're trying to do it. We're just, there's ideas that we come up with, and then we test these ideas. But see, you insist that it's like, oh, that's to try to get away from God, right? No, it's just like the multiverse is a possible explanation for why this universe is the way it is. If you have an infinite amount of universes, you're bound to have one that has life. So there you go, But the multiverse is testable. There would be things that we would find if it was true. And what those things are and how all that works, you're going to have to consult with a cosmologist, because I have no idea.
And like Hawking's theory, the answer is that there is no primal universe. It simply goes backwards in time to infinity. And again, there is no way to prove such a theory. And one could argue...
Sure there is, or it's not a theory, scientifically speaking. If there isn't a way to prove it, then it's a hypothesis. Well, I don't know if it's a hypothesis at that point. You're just saying stuff. Like, where's your citation? Where's anything? Anyways.
That using words like infinity in such a way in no way makes it true, but crudely attempts to circumvent the fundamental laws of causality.
The law of causality, is that really a law, or is that just an idea that we have? See, the causality itself might break down as you approach the T1 point. Again, physics breaks down. So maybe the causality law, if there is such a law, breaks down. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. We have no idea yet. What we would need is like a really good computer program to like run the simulation, and goodness knows if we have a powerful enough computer to do that yet, or maybe somebody has. Hey, Nerdy Rhoda, get on that. Start simulating the beginning of the universe as explained by Big Bang cosmology. I know you can do it. If you can't do it, who can? I don't know. You're the only computer. Okay, you're the second computer person that I know. The first one couldn't do it, though. That's for sure. The other computer guy I know he couldn't do it. Well, maybe he could. I don't know that he... You know what? I don't know anything anymore. Back to the video. Wait, no, that's not right. I know some stuff, but I don't know. Forget it.
One other theory worth mentioning is the oscillating model, in which the universe expands, collapses, and then repeats the cycle. A big bang, big crunch, and big bounce. However, as Beatrice Tinsley of Yale points out, There is no known physics to reverse the collapse and bounce back to a new expansion. Hawking made the following statement, which pretty much sums up his fanatical attempts to theorize a universe without a beginning. So long as the universe had a beginning, we could suppose it had a creator. But if the universe is really self-contained, having no boundary or edge, it would have neither beginning nor end. It would simply be. What place then for a creator? A Brief History of Time, pages 156 and 57.
A citation! A citation! Hallelujah! 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 A citation! Wow. Wonder what he said before and after that. Oh, well.
Hawking's reasoning is sound. Indeed, one of the comments on my previous video was space had no edge. So at least the person who made the comment understood what was at stake. The reality is, to date, the verifiable evidence points to space having both a definitive beginning and a boundary or edge, like a cosmic balloon expanding within an area or space we know nothing about.
I'm not sure that that's a scientific consensus. I think that you think that it is, but show me the cosmologists that actually say this in peer-reviewed published papers. Show me that there's a consensuary opinion regarding the universe and if it has a beginning. Because I guarantee if I start looking it up on Google Scholar, I'm going to find counterexample after counterexample. You need to provide the proof that this is a majority view among cosmologists. But I don't think that you ever will do that because I don't think that it's out there. But I'm willing to be proven wrong about this. You made the burden. You made the burden. You made the claim. You have the burden. You also made the burden, and therefore you have the claim. Sure, why not? I don't know.
Now, I fully understand that if I mention the Bible here at this point, many of you will quickly develop a childish rage and stop watching.
Correct. Good. Yes. Very good prediction there. So don't mention the Bible. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll get rage. I'll have rage.
But at least I will have separated the purely subjective adolescents from those who are still capable of objective critique.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, have you looked at the lobsterist? And if you haven't, then I'll have separated the objective from the blah, 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 blah you said, right? If you haven't read the lobsterist, then you aren't really honest and you're not really a Christian. If you haven't read the lobsterist, then you actually aren't bald, but you actually have hair and you put on a bald cap to make it look like you're bald. Yeah, and if you haven't read The Lobsterist, then you're a big old meanie and a poopy head. Man, whatever. Stop poisoning the well. Maybe this sort of talk that you're doing right now, where you say, if you're brave or courageous or truthful, then you're going to do this thing that I want you to do. Why not just leave that out? Okay? Just be like, if you think that people aren't going to like that you quote the Bible, then don't quote the Bible. And if you think people are going to quit when you mention the Bible, then don't mention the Bible. Or mention the Bible in a different video. This video is supposed to be questions for atheists. You ask your questions. Leave it at that. Then make a different video where you're like, now I want to talk about the Bible. And I'll ignore that video because I don't care what the Bible says. In the same way that you probably, I assume, don't care what the lobsterist says. Hell, you probably have never even heard of the lobsterist, but it's never been debunked. Not a single person has even tried yet. So until you read the lobsterist, I guess you're dishonest and all the other mudslinging and poisoning of the well that you just tried to throw onto your audience. Maybe that's why you're getting such vitriol in your comments, is because you say stuff like this.
Bible is over 3,000 years old, yet its very first verse stated that.
Is it though? Is the Bible 3,000 years old? Let's see. How old is the Bible? Let's see. Different texts that are over 2,700 years old. Okay, but the age of the original composition is difficult to determine. And so, let's see. The final version of Genesis was written as late as 400 BC. But most scholars believe the book of Genesis was written around 1400 BC. But we would need dating, like on whatever the copy is. Like, you know. But the oldest text is about 27,000 years old. Okay. But that's one piece. Like, other parts aren't that old. So it's kind of disingenuous to say that the whole thing is that old when it's just certain parts are that old. Anyways, whatever. Facts. Who needs them?
That the universe was not infinite, but had a beginning. And just as importantly, it also offers an explanation for what is beyond the boundary or edge of space.
No, the Bible just says a bunch of stuff that you would have to prove.
The word cosmos in Scripture is translated as both universe, heavens, or heaven, and the Bible states that there are 3 of them.
Okay.
The first is to the outer edge of the Earth's atmosphere, the second to the edge of the cosmic balloon that we call space, and the third, God's primary dwelling place, which is both infinite and eternal. The third heaven is called exactly that, and the Bible offers a considerable amount of details about this place and its inhabitants.
Don't care.
Although some are non-corporeal, others have physical bodies which are other than flesh and blood. The Apostle Paul even claimed to have been taken to this place, but could find no appropriate words to describe it. My personal questions to those who are still watching are these. Number 1, do you adhere to the Big Bang Theory as the best scientific evidence of the origin of the universe that we have to date?
Yes, I guess so. Yes.
And number 2, do you agree that, despite the efforts of Hawking and others, no theory has been presented which can prove the universe had no beginning and has no boundary or edge?
No, I don't agree with that because I don't know what theories are out there. I haven't looked at all of them. I only know what cosmology has come my way through the National Science Education videos and like every now and then reading something about cosmology or whatever Neil deGrasse Tyson says. It's interesting and I enjoy learning that stuff, but I don't actively like go read scientific papers on it. So I don't know what's out there. So I cannot agree with your second question because I don't know the answer. So I don't know. I don't know if there are or are not things that would or would not refute that question that was loaded. Thanks for asking.
And number 3, can you explain how a 3,000-year-old book has an explanation of the cosmos which perfectly fits the most current facts and theories that we have?
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's one explanation, is it really doesn't. Okay? It just doesn't. And this is a loaded question again. So, Genesis 1, I guess. All right. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to look at what it says. I don't want to, but I guess we have to. All right. So, in the beginning, which we don't know if there was or wasn't a beginning, God, which we don't know if there is or isn't a God, created the heavens and the earth. Now, What do we mean here? He said that this could be cosmos, this could be the universe, this could be the actual heaven. Like, is this three different things at once? Is it one thing? I don't know. What does this mean exactly? Is the earth? Do you mean the actual earth? Or do you mean matter? Like, in general? Because the earth wasn't around at the beginning of the universe. And it wasn't around for a long, 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 long time, because the Earth is 4.54 billion years old, and the universe is 13 billion years old. So 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So you've got about 9 billion years before Earth can be created. Unless it means matter. But this is the English version, so we'd have to look at the Hebrew version, and then we'd have to translate it, and oh my God, it's so difficult. Anyways, all right, so the earth was formless and empty. Okay, well, the earth was never, this earth, now we're talking about this earth, right, was not formless, because how it came into being was via gravity pulling together different components that the sun left over when it exploded to be the sun in the first place, and different rocks and whatever the bleep was out there, elements and stuff, all this stuff getting closer together until it made a planet. Okay, so it definitely had a form. So that's wrong. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. Okay, there was no deep yet because, maybe there was oceans. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe oceans came later as a result of meteorites hitting the earth that were ice. Hard to say. We're not sure. But darkness? No, because the sun existed already before the earth existed. Like a while before the earth existed. So, no, it wasn't dark. So that's wrong. And the Spirit of God, which we have no proof of, was hovering over the waters. Why was he hovering over the waters? I don't know. And then God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, well, that's wrong because the sun already existed, so that's wrong too. So, Genesis is not an accurate portrayal of cosmology. Okay? There's the answer to your question. The Bible does not align with current cosmology. That's your answer. However, if it did, even if it was pinpoint accurate and described every minutia detail about the Big Bang cosmology and the formation of stars, elements, etc., that wouldn't prove God necessarily. But it would show an outstanding expertise in science from an ancient culture that would surely be a great mystery to unravel. And I'm sure people would say, well, that's got to mean that God told them. And I'd say, well, maybe, but maybe they just figured it out. Or maybe they just got lucky. I don't know. Because I still don't have proof of God. It's so weird how God hints at its existence. Here's a little hint here. Here's a little hint here. Just show yourself. Just be obvious already. If the Bible detailed cosmology in full, explaining every single detail of it, maybe I'd be like, yeah, that's really hard to explain, and I give it more, benefit than I do now. But it doesn't. It's not even close. So the answer to your question is it doesn't, but even if it did, it probably really wouldn't prove anything. But you're going to use that part. You're going to focus on that bit and be like, aha, even if it was exact, it wouldn't prove anything. Because proof of a thing is the thing, not Like, you can't just say, well, I don't know how these ancient people came up with this, therefore God. That's an appeal to ignorance and personal incredulity, okay? I don't want to do that. Maybe you do, but I don't. But it doesn't matter because it's a hypothetical anyways. No Bible, no holy book describes the universe coming to be. Except for the lobsteress. Yes, we ended with the lobsteress. Yeah.